Welcome to the Wake.Show. As everybody knows, the show needs an intro. This is that intro. Fisher in the foreground, McCarty in the background. Stuff you should know. And way too many pictures of Fisher's dogs.
Dogs all over the place. Everywhere place. All over the place. Dogs. Wake.Show. All right.
There we go. Welcome to the Wake.Show. I'm Chris Fisher along with Chris McCarty. How you doing today?
Well, how are you guys all doing today?
Swell. Thanks for asking. Well, were you even talking to me?
All day.
All right, let's get to some of the some things to talk about. Let's start. So this past week we had a couple days ago, you had the a walkout around the country. This was all stemming from the Parkland shooting, and enough is enough. So one of the stories coming out is that the school districts are looking to penalize some of these kids, and of course there's others out there fighting. Go, man, don't penalize these kids. Let them go out there and do their thing, express themselves, and don't penalize them. Chris, how do you think that the school districts should, if they've got things in place to say if you try to pull something like this, you'll end up with detention or suspension? You think they should follow through or let up the rules on this a little bit?
I think with the circumstances, sometimes it might be best to be willing to be flexible to hear another opinion and outlook, and maybe not be so aggressive, because clearly something's something needs to change a little bit.
New Jersey.
What are your thoughts?
I'll tell you. A New Jersey school district reportedly plans on punishing students who participated in the school walkouts on Wednesday as part of a nationwide protest on gun violence. Now, here are my thoughts on that. We have the right to protest here in America, which is amazing. But you don't have the right to protest and have everything excused. If you try to pull something like this at work, you may have a boss that is cool. Hold on, buddy. Hold on. We'll go out in a little bit. Damn it. I have a few. Just hang on, little man. Sorry.
That's a great idea. I could
Joey.
play a song while you do that and come back, and then boom, just let FYI. I'm your sidekick.
Chris, you're nobody's sidekick.
Dude, I got you. But you were saying,
let's
finish this. What you're saying about that,
and then we'll do that. Yeah. Thank you so much, because I think Joey does.
I can tell. Yeah.
So, the way I look at it is, this is a good chance for kids to learn that there is sacrifice. Now, we were talking about civil rights yesterday, and going back to the '60s, and when people protested, they didn't get a free pass. There was sacrifice there. And so I think that this is something that kids have to weigh out when they go to protest, whatever it is they're going to protest. There could be consequences to that protest. Now, the consequence not going to be you get jailed. That's the cool part.
Yeah.
As long as you peacefully do it, you do it the right way, you will not go to jail. That's the cool part of America.
Or get Kaepernicked.
Right. Well,
they're not going to be like, you can't go back to school. Or you can't go to these other schools because you decided to stay no gun. There's going to be a school that agrees with what you're saying, I'm sure, and says, come on in. Just saying.
No, you're right.
You're not going to get that.
So my thought is this. I do not have an issue with schools sticking to their policies here and going, that's fine. You guys want to, just don't be jerks about it. You don't have to make a big deal out of it. Listen, you guys want to protest, knock yourselves out. It's going to cost you a day detention or suspension, whatever that is. And I know a lot of people like to argue that, that's not right, man. I think it's exactly right. It's exactly the way it should be.
But here's the problem with that. Not a problem, but I hear you on both sides, and to some degree, I think it's exactly right. But when you've got a kid that says, well, what if we're just sick? I'm not going to school because I'm sick. Well, you're not going to get detention because you're sick.
But there's also if they catch in the protest line.
But sometimes there's also sometimes teachers look away with senior skip day. Like, that's okay. Like, but here's a situation where it's like, hey, we're dying. Can we not? But I'm just saying, like,
get your guitar. He's pushing the door open.
Yeah, dude.
All right, so this is awesome. This is so awesome. All right, so we'll do this right there, and all right, you knock yourself out. I'm gonna go take Joey out real quickly.
We should probably say this song. Just
come on, Joey.
Everyone knows all about my direction. And in my heart somewhere, I wanna go there. Still I don't go there. Everybody say something, say something, say something, say something, say something, say something. But I don't wanna get caught up in the middle of it. I get at myself, I get at myself, no, no. Caught up in the middle of it. Maybe I'm looking for something I can't have. But maybe I'm looking for something I can't have. Everyone knows all about my transgressions. But in my heart somewhere, this melody in harmony for you and me tonight. I hear them call my name. Everybody say something, say something, say something, say something, say something, say something. But I don't wanna get caught up in the middle of it. If it's something I can't have, but maybe I'm looking for something I can't have. Sometimes the greatest way of saying something is to say nothing at all. Sometimes the greatest way of saying something is to say nothing.
Nice timing.
Hey.
What did I do with my headphones? Oh, there.
I played that one because he's all about the kids saying something, not saying something, and what do we think we should protest and blah, but say something or something. Uh-oh. She gotta go?
She's fine. She's fine. You ever had a full-time job, Chris?
Yes.
Back in the day? I didn't know if you've been singing
Well,
all
what
your
is
life.
it? What do you mean by full-time?
Where you had
I
to
mean,
be...
other jobs, but they weren't necessarily.
I'm sure you've had jobs along the way. Like Monday through Friday, you had to be somewhere 9 to 5.
No.
No? Nothing like that?
Being a dad.
That doesn't count. I mean...
Whoa.
Hold on a second. Hold on.
Whoa, you're right. It's 24/7. You're right. It's not 9 to 5.
Right. That's not what I meant. That's not what I meant.
Single dad at that, by the way.
No, because I was just, I was thinking, you and I have talked a lot over the years about, doing a show, and you come in on Thursdays and Fridays. And so, also visualize, who knows how this year plays out, for you, for us. And I was like, trying to picture you coming in here 5 days a week. And I'm like, man, I wonder if that's something he would just get too antsy. Like, this 2 days a week's fine, but 5 days a week, it doesn't feel right.
No, I could definitely come do this 5 days a week.
Right.
Because you are what you do. And I play guitar all the time. I don't stop. Like, I just love it. I love, this is what I do. So, yeah, of course I'd be here every single day.
One of the things last week, I think I pulled up that email. Going back to 2014, was it? And
no, that was 11, dude. Was it 11?
Or 11 or 12?
No,
it
was
was
14.
It was,
My bad.
yeah,
I don't know where
I think it was 14. And he and I were thinking about a show called C Squared, Chris and Chris, C Squared. And one of the notes that I had written down, it's like the late night with Jimmy Fallon or one of those.
Yeah.
But I wrote, instead of having the Roots, be the band, you've got one person, but he doesn't just sit there and play music. He interacts, it's a 50-50 with the Jimmy Fallon character. That would be me. And so that was kind of and so I just love that, man. I love that.
Yeah.
You can just break out we can sit here and be chatting and, be like,
bust out with the dog's got to go pee.
Yeah.
Handle it. I got you. All right, yeah, man.
Next up here on my, the U.S. imposes sanctions on 19 Russians for meddling in the U.S. election. I know it's a little on the political side. It's just good to see, because I know a lot of people are concerned that the president or people on his team, he's been too friendly to our adversary, Russia. So it's good to see that the White House was on board with this one, along with President Macron and Chancellor Merkel. Yeah, Merkel. All right, let's see. We don't want to spend a lot of time on that one. What the hell am I? What is? I guess that's just an ad. Like, what the hell is this? I don't even recognize it. This was how much bottled water do you? I would imagine you drink a lot of bottled water.
Trying to get back to doing a gallon a day.
I mean,
I think that's 8 bottles of.
Well, they're finding plastic in almost every single one of these brands, like little particles of plastic that we're ingesting. They tested 250 bottles of water in Brazil, China, India, Indonesia, Kenya, Lebanon, Mexico, Thailand, and the U.S. Plastics were identified in 93% of the samples. What the? So you've been, 9 out of 10 bottles of water that you drink have little particles of plastic in it.
And plastic is definitely, they don't give you cancer, as we all know.
Well, yeah, the body doesn't process plastic too good.
That's why Rastafarians do not touch it at all. They do not believe in that. Fun fact.
What's that? What? Rastafarians what?
Do not touch used plastics at all because it is unnatural, and they believe in using everything that is natural from the ground.
I did not know that.
Yeah, man.
What else do I not know about Rastafarianism? Are you a Rastafarianism?
I'm a little bit of everything, man. To tell you the honest truth, I've read a lot of different books. I've studied different religions and different spiritualities. I've, met different people who were involved in different aspects of life and fell in love with them in their ways.
Well, you have a shaman or two in your family, don't you?
Yeah. And the thing, but my uncle is straight Rastafarian. So Rastafarians, they only are with other Rastas. So for the most part, and they don't sleep next to someone who doesn't have hair that's locked. Yeah, that's and the idea is because, like, and it's true. Like, if you lay down with crazy, you wake up with crazy, and you end up a little crazy. So they talk about that. I mean, of course,
if you lay down with crazy, you wake up with crazy. Well,
yeah. So that's it's
Chris. You and I, we've laid down with plenty of crazy over the years,
and they made me crazy. They made you crazy. Let's be honest.
Sir.
Touche. So there's that. There's they, the ones who follow by the legends, they don't drink alcohol, but of course there are some that do, and not all do weed. Some do. But it's really, they have to go to every year. There's a Nyabingi. Nyabingi is where all the Rastas from all over the world come in, and they keep a fire going. So they say the fire lighting by the candlelight, logwood burning through the night. That's a reference to Nyabingi. And I went there one time for a week. Everyone's out in tents. There's no communication. There's a huge, like a big tent that's got writings of Haile Selassie. Haile Selassie is who they believe that Jesus reincarnated. He came back as. They believe that Jesus already came back and he was Haile Selassie from the king of Ethiopia. He was also known to be said as Ras Tafari in his reincarnated state. Ras Tafari was known to be able to speak to animals. And he was the king of everything, and that's why the whole Lion of Judah. So, so he was the Lion of Judah, and he was actually killed. Apparently, what they say is that he was murdered by U.S. people, whatever.
What?
That's the story that's been said that they don't really know, but he was definitely.
Oh, so this guy's modern day. This doesn't go back centuries.
This is like in the 70s and 80s. Yeah, dude. He's 70s.
Oh, so is Rastafarianism like a newer religion?
I wouldn't necessarily say it's newer.
That guy you're talking about was Jesus.
They said it. They think it was Jesus reincarnated. Yes.
And then the U.S. government killed him.
Yes. And so it's like if you think about it, so back in England used to control everything, but at Jamaica, and it was the British nobles that said that the hair they called the Rastas, they called them dreadful looking hair, so they got dreadlocks or dreadful locks. So we're really not supposed to say dreadlocks, supposed to say locks, but that's a whole other history.
So dreadlocks was originally a derogatory term.
Yes.
Huh.
Yeah, interesting.
Look at that.
So that's why they say natty dread and
What's boop?
It's just a call, like or what was the other? Who we talking about? Like Samoas. Everyone's got different call, but yeah, that's Rastafarian, man. Cool stuff. Yeah, and I went down there and kicked it with them for a while. So there's some things I definitely agree with them. Like Haile Selassie is all about work. He just believes that, like, this song Bob Marley, for those who want to reference, if you reference Bob Marley's song War was a speech made by Haile Selassie and he actually just made it into a song. So until the philosophies of one race is superior than another is finally and permanently discredited and abandoned, there's a war. So this man is talking about equality and peace, and like all the good leaders that talk about equality and peace get killed, but that's what he was all about. Yeah.
Until the philosophy which hold one race superior and another inferior is
finally and permanently discredited and abandoned, there's a war. Until the what's the next one? Until
they're no longer, or that until they're no longer
first class and second class citizens of any nation, until the color of a man's skin is of no more significance than the color of his eyes, there's a war. And until that day, until
the basic human rights
keep going
are equally guaranteed to all,
besides regard the race, is a war.
This a war.
Yeah.
That until that day, the dream of lasting peace,
world citizenship, and I keep going. Just go.
Rule of international morality will remain in, but a fleeting illusion to be pursued, but never attained. Now everywhere is war.
War in the east, war in the west, war up north, war down south, war. Yeah.
And don't tell the. I'm sorry, that was.
A noble and a happy redeemer, in Mozambique. South Africa, a human bondage. Listen, man, I love Bob. I love all that. So yeah, it's pretty cool. We were talking about history, and now we got a whole other history lesson from your friend Chris.
Let's see what else.
That's why I like HQ. Where are these questions?
Chris turned me on to HQ this week. Trivia HQ, if you guys aren't into that. 3 o'clock and 9 o'clock every single day, or I don't know, Monday through Friday. Do you know? I don't know. I don't know. I don't know those details. I just know it's at 3 p.m. and 9 p.m. Eastern.
Yes.
And this guy hosted. It's 12 questions. They get progressively harder. You get 10 seconds to answer the question. And if you get all 12 of them right, then you are part of the money. It's like a $250 payout for every single one of these games. You only get a couple bucks if you end up in the money. Right. But then that accumulates, obviously, if you can pull that off over and over and over again. But it's just kind of fun. And also considering that I'm a trivia jockey. I'm a trivia ninja. And I'm slinging trivia twice a week, but I'm not. I have to go to one of these nights, Chris. I have to go to somebody else's trivia night and just see how I would do, because I'm sitting there reading it, and people are going to assume because I can read that I'm smart. Because a lot of these guys that do this stuff are smart. These companies will hire people who are really smart. Right. Some of these people in the Bay Area have also been on like game shows, that host these trivia nights. But
you're really intelligent, dude. I mean,
yeah, but I don't know stuff.
Well, you're learning things right now every single day.
I'm intelligent when we start talking about the emotional quotient and those things.
So, do you feel inadequate when this is going on? I mean, where did this come from? So, is it like, where did that stem from? Did someone who hosts another place show up and start asking you questions, try to bully you? And
it goes back. It goes back. Being from Ocoee and in school not really being important.
Okay.
What was stressed to us growing up was being good people, being happy, being good Christians. That was it. That's all that's important. And don't get me wrong, there was a little bit. They wanted us to see us. They wanted to see us get good grades, but there was not a big push for it or anything.
Okay.
But I did realize somewhere along the way that I just didn't know a lot. Not only that, but I like around 12, 13, 14, I was very aware of my accent as well. Being, like if I got my brother, you've met my brothers.
Yeah.
And awesome. Jason, sounds a little bit more. Nah, that's not how he sounds at all.
I didn't catch that at all. Talking to any of your brothers.
Because there's a difference between a country drawl, and a redneck like lazy mouth, and that's my brother. Not open your mouth when you talk, like fitting to go fishing. Hey, what are you doing? It's like a grunting at you.
Right. With it.
But somewhere early in my teens, I realized that if I wanted to make, I don't know where it even came from, but if I wanted to get out of Ocoee and become something, I was going to have to start working on my lazy mouth.
Oh, okay. So you started reading books then? That's what you're saying?
No. Reading always put me to sleep.
Okay. So what got you into reading? There has to be something that got you into reading.
Yeah, I got into reading in my late 20s thanks to Nate Farmer. I don't think you ever met Nate or Napoleon, my old morning show partner. I think that was before you. But here's what it was. Actually, I was watching CNN one night, and they had. Did you ever read the book or know the movie, the book Tuesdays with Morrie?
Mitch Albom. I love that book. It's one of my favorites.
So Mitch Albom, the Detroit Free Press, was on talking about his new book, Tuesdays with Morrie, and that fascinated me because it wasn't fiction. It was real. Right? I got it right. And it's the stories about how he was watching CNN, I believe, and he saw an old college professor on, and he was dying. He had ALS, and so he had just months, he was deteriorating. So he called up his old professor and went ahead and started to go see him every Tuesday and have conversations with him until he passed.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, and it was a book about psychology. Because what hooked me was this teacher, this professor. Once I think he was a psychology professor. Once he knew he was dying, he didn't quit.
Yeah.
He got in front of his students and had his students study him as a man who knows he's about to die.
Yeah.
And I'm like, holy shit, this is
amazing.
Yeah.
People, if you haven't read Tuesdays with Morrie, I would definitely suggest doing it. It'll give you a good little balance on life. One little aspect that he would say, the questions were asked, like, "Are you scared to die?" It's like, yes, I am. I'm more afraid of what's going to happen to my kids, how they're going to be. I'm not really afraid of death. Are you sad? And he's like, yeah, I allow myself 10 minutes a day to cry, and it's no mean the minute, but I stop myself because I'm not going to live this life wallowing in sorrow, and no, I still have living to do, but I acknowledge that, yeah, there's some sadness to it. Like, I can't pick up things. I'm at the complete mercy of other people. Like, that's, it's humbling and whatnot. It's a great read. He also has another book called The 5 People You Meet in Heaven. Another phenomenal one. So just for those of you who like to wonder what life could be outside of what you see in reality.
So I read that book. You get to the end, I'm bawling like a bitch. Oh wait, you can't say that anymore.
No,
I was bawling like a man. Like a
man. Thank you. I was just bawling.
He's bawling. So I tell my buddy Nate, and he's somebody that reads like 3 books a month, or at least he did back in the day. And he goes, well, if you like that, did you ever see Interview with a Vampire? Yeah, of course I did. And he goes, well, here's the second book. Here's the follow-up. I'm like, no, I don't want to read that. That's nonfiction, right? Wait, that's fiction. I don't want to read that. The reason I like this other book because it was real and it was it's just fascinating.
Yeah.
And he goes, read the first chapter. If you don't like it, then give it back to me. So I take it home. I read the first chapter and just start blowing through it because it's so amazing. And then the next thing you know, I've run through 6, 7, 8 Anne Rice books. And then after I'm done with that, is Harry Potter had kicked in.
Dude, Harry Potter got me way more into reading books.
So yeah, so I didn't read stuff that where I learned anything for the most part. That is not true because after I got through the Harry Potter, I did get interested in books about the brain and neuroscience.
And you learned Expelliarmus. I mean, come on, dog.
True. Good point.
What, you gonna tell me you didn't learn nothing from Harry?
That's ipso facto.
That's messed up. Like you didn't for a while, and now I've changed this. I want to make sure we've gone past this. But in the beginning, when I was going through the separation with my ex, her name was Voldemort in my phone. I admit that. Which is admitting Friday. We're just admitting that was her name was Voldemort. So she should not be named.
You got to write another one of those apology letters.
That's a big one. She's one of the later ones. For those of you who don't know, we're in this whole world of like love and feeling good. So we're writing apology and forgiveness letters to people so we can all heal. And she's one of the people that I'm writing I forgive you for blah blah blah. It's for me, not for you. Gotcha.
So then I did read Stephen Hawking. He just passed away this week. Stephen Hawking's A Brief History of Time. There's also another book that I read I read and then downloaded the audio book that I just absolutely loved and listened to the audio book, and I'll still pull it out every now and again. And that is called A Short History of Nearly Everything by Bill Bryson. So those are the kinds of things that I started to gravitate to, and then there were some some books about emotional quotients and we were learning more about, IQ only says so much about a person and blah, 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 blah. So anyway, so I'm not smart. The thing is, I'm like Discovery Channel smart. I watch enough of Discovery Channel and
to regurgitate.
Yeah, the History Channel to throw out a little fact every now and again. And go, well, that guy knows what he's talking about. He's talking about black holes. I don't know anything about black holes. He's talking about entanglement. I don't know what even that is.
I read this book called The Big Leap. It was by Guy Hendricks. The Big Leap. What I learned is it was talking about people have these different zones. We have a good zone. We have a zone of excellence, which is like, for the most part, you're good at radio. You can do it. You can knock it out. You can make a life doing it. But the zone of genius, which we all have, it's just that other level of nothing stopping you. And that's what, when we're talking
about... tell me more about this zone of genius, because because I kind of have this thought that everybody is a genius in their niche, in their... You give them the right thing and you're going to go, oh, wow.
It's different than you think, right? So what I learned from... zones of genius, it's when you're able to get out of your own way and then operate to that gift that you have to the greatest ability. And let me show you.
I don't have that genius.
But let me show you where we're coming from. So now, a lot of people don't know this. There was a dynamic with my brother Phil and I. We have a very different dynamic. He had surgery when he was 2 years old, a tumor in his jaw, and it was just very traumatic. And then I was 9, he was in 10th grade. They took out a rib, a hip, reconstructed, and it was just very, you're 9 years old, you're in a hospital with a bunch of other little sick kids. You're seeing your older brother who you worship, and he's got these bandages on his face, and you're there for 3 months and you don't know anyone. It's just, what happened with me because of that, I felt so bad. I felt so bad growing up that I never really wanted to be too good at anything, in this weird overshadowing psychological thing. This has come from me now being like, so that I stayed in my zone of excellence.
You're roping doping life?
But I stayed in my zone of excellence. Think about this. This is a thing that you don't know, that these are the issues that you have growing up that you may not necessarily know that you're strapping with, but you gotta, when I realized that, and I realized that's what's keeping me from my zone of genius, me not trying to be too good, trying to be too in the right and right. So it goes into, with my business, maybe I don't stay on social media like I'm supposed to. You don't try to, because you're supposed to, but people are afraid. Some people are afraid of success, and they don't know how to handle it because of whatever issues they may be going with. So it's not necessarily you have a genius or you don't. It's like, what are the things that are stopping you, preventing you from really tapping into that genius,
kind of reaching your full potential kind of thing?
Yeah, it's great, man. It's a great read. Guy Hendricks, The Big Leap.
One of the stories that I came across this week was about people who are self-employed, and according to a new study, are happier.
Self-employed, happy dude. Absolutely, I believe that.
The self-employed are happier at work despite long hours and more uncertainty, and that is very true about being self-employed, trying to be an entrepreneur. There are long hours of not being paid. I think about even this show, the amount of hours put into this show, but the monetary return so far in this show. For most people, they're like, nah, it's just not worth it. But I think those who go out there to try to live this life, I don't know. There's something wrong with our brains, or there's just something different, I should say. And because to me, I can visualize the end. I can see the finish line. Not that it's right around the corner, but I know it's there. And if I keep grinding it out and keep pushing forward, that'll manifest in the way that I want it to.
Yeah.
So, and then the second part, so long hour, right? You're working harder for less money sometimes. And then what was the other part of it? Even though, despite the long hours and more, the uncertainty part. That's the risk. The difference between my wife and, say, someone like my personality, my wife. I'm a risk taker. She's not a risk taker. I would imagine, Chris, you would consider yourself a risk taker.
Yeah.
Which I guess most artists probably are.
Yeah, life is a risk, man. Come on.
It's true.
Everyone's a risk taker.
You're existing? Well, then you took a risk. You should have stayed. You should have stayed part of the all.
You could have stayed in heaven, dude. You could have. You decided to come back for for a reason, man. You're here.
Yeah, you should have been stayed a part of the all. What's going?
Oh, my bad.
What happened? Oh,
yeah.
Roxy, did we disturb your slumber over there?
But you were saying, so.
But it's not easy, man. It is not easy. There's definitely no guarantees, but that's the kind of, I don't know. I don't say that's the kind of thing that drives me.
The only guarantee in life is you're going to die eventually. So take a chance in your life while you got it.
It's Friday.
Well, I'm just saying, like, let's be honest. We know this is going to happen. As you were saying, you see the end. Well, if I see the end, why not dance a little bit? Why not? What's going to happen? Yeah. The end's going to happen. So why not? Just give me a good reason why not. Well, I never hear it.
Well, for those people who are religious, they have rules where they feel like you're here for a particular reason to live a certain way in order to get to the next phase.
Fear, exactly. You were saying more fear.
Well, yeah. So the being self-employed is definitely not for the faint of heart, and I do not have the basic skills, the organizational skills. It's something that is a challenge for me that I really have to work. I would imagine you too, Chris.
Yeah, that's why I was like.
That's why you have Deidre.
D, I've got my dad, I've got Andrew, I've got Junebug, I've got Anthony, I've got a team. I got a team of people just and I got me. I mean, I'm getting better at it, but ooh, I got my kids. Valentina, where's Daddy's remote? It's over here, Daddy. Thanks. Yeah. That's what you need. You need some kids. They'll help you out.
Yeah.
Keep you straight.
That's what they say. That's what they say. The self-employed are happier at work despite long hours. The research carried out by experts showed self-employed people felt more engaged with their work, predominantly because they enjoyed more freedom to innovate and influence their working environments. Academic study data collected from 5,000 workers in the UK, US, Australia, and New Zealand across a number of sectors. This shows that people who are entrepreneurs, who are self-employed, are happier. I don't know. But I think, it's all relative. Some people are, some people aren't. Oh, this is a weird story. Did we do it? Were you in here last week when we had an incest story where you and I were talking about incest?
We weren't. Oh, throw up.
Well, here's another one, Chris. Look at this.
I keep going. What is it?
This is an Oklahoma mom who once married her son. Okay, follow along. I feel like I need a little bouncing ball here. An Oklahoma mom who once married her son is now going to go to jail for marrying her daughter. And the greatest thing about this story, it's not from Florida. And it's not. So that has to give some of us some joy.
What is going on?
So here's, if you guys want to look at your screen real quick, this is the picture of them. That is the mother and the daughter there. Now, they're both arrested because she is an adult, 46 and 26. 46 and 26.
They see 2020, brother. That's why they... I'm sorry.
What's that, what?
It's a 20-year difference. I'm like, oh, they see 2020. They see perfectly. They know what they're doing. They got it.
So...
What are they doing?
Patricia and her daughter, Misty. Her name is Misty Velvet. Misty Velvet.
You can't write that.
I'm not even done.
Misty Velvet.
Her name is Misty Velvet Dawn Span. Got married in the town of Lawton 17 months after same-sex marriage became legal in the state of Oklahoma. Now, to get around the potential snag of their shared family name, Patricia Span listed her name as Patricia Ann Clayton on the pair's marriage license. For her part in marrying her daughter 2 years after she was legally allowed to contact her children, following an annulled marriage to her biological son, she will serve time in jail. The newspaper reported that she pleaded guilty to the felony incest. My gosh, she will serve 2 years in prison, followed by 8 years probation. She will have to register as a sex offender. Incest is punishable by up to 10 years in prison in Oklahoma. Now, Patricia told child welfare investigators she lost custody of Misty and her 2 other children before reconnecting with them in 2014. And that's when Patricia and Misty hit it off. It says in quotes, hit it off. And started the relationship that eventually landed them both in jail. Before the pair was arrested, there's a part of me that is very curious. There's a part of me that wants to know that how does this happen? the backstory, but I bet I don't want to know.
Just some signs.
I don't want to know.
There has to be something, a voice inside of you that's telling you this is a bad idea. Don't do this. Something.
No, it's the exact opposite though.
How long were they together before they got in jail?
Well, they were reunited in 2014,
Okay.
and so then they just got to, so.
All right.
I don't know.
So,
They said they hit it off. Of course, you're going to hit it off. It's your dog. You guys are related.
I hit it off.
But here's the thing,
We
you
like
know,
the same foods. I wonder why. You have the same genes. Oh, Lord Almighty. I love your eyes. Oh, God, I love yours. Why they look just like mine. And there's something about me that I love so much that I need more of me. And I see me in you. And you complete me. Like when... I'm sorry. Am I being rude? Because I'm sorry. My bad. My bad. I need to bring the love. I'm being level. I'm sorry.
well,
The heart wants what the heart wants.
well, it's hard, man, because it's that battle between trying to be compassionate to human beings, even though you don't understand they're crazy, and at the same time, we're doing a show here, and you got to have a little fun with this the madness as we as we hurl through the universe.
Wait,
Hurdle.
here's the thing I want everyone to realize. So, they really... Y'all see?
Don't.
They both
What do you
got
do? Are you going to
super-
judge them based on their looks?
No, they're both wearing Superman shirts, man. Like,
Well,
we talk
they're
about
meant to be
family
together.
Unit, family unit, we're gonna match, and we
They're meant to be together.
Get arrested. We're both wearing Superman shirts. Come on, man. It's something not right. Like, you can't do the ins and the Superman.
Because here's the way I look at this. Because I have a feeling if you were to if a professional were to sit down with his mom for a little bit, we'd find out she's crazy, batshit crazy, and effed up her kids a long time ago.
Sadly, something probably happened to her because it's some learned behavior thing that happened. It's just sad. There's something, and it's
Next.
I just feel bad because I am judging. I don't like that.
Just go. Not that this is this next story is not like it's I just since I was in radio for a long time, one of the things that a lot of his radio has been watching is what's happening with iHeartMedia, which used to be Clear Channel, because and correct me if I'm wrong for those of you that know this better than I do, but from what I understood, as the industry got deregulated in the late 90s, 1996, got deregulated. So up until that point, you really could only own like 2 or maybe 3 radio stations in any given market. There were some factors there, some variables. Well, once they deregulated it, then you can get up to like 6 or something like 6 or 7 in a market, and then that's when it became more viable for corporations to get in and start making their mark in it with that medium. So after that, Clear Channel started to scoop up. Well, before it was Paxson, if you guys remember, Paxson started to scoop up everything. Then Paxson got scooped up, or however that worked, with Clear Channel. And then Clear Channel became iHeart. Well, I guess in that phase, they started buying up a lot of radio stations. But what was happening at the time? What happened as we got into the 2000s? The internet and technology was on the rise as they're buying all these radio stations. So at some point, radio wasn't as viable as they were hoping once they deregulated it. So this is something that the radio industry has been watching for a long time to see if they were going to be able to pull out of this spiral. Doesn't look like it. iHeartMedia reaches in principle agreement with some creditors, says Clear Channel Outdoor Holdings, not part of the bankruptcy, and the stock closed at 48 cents on Wednesday. Holy shit. So what does that mean for people in the industry? I have no idea yet. Well, yeah, some experts you are, Fish. Listen, I haven't been in radio for a little bit. I've got 2 more things to get to here that are kind of interesting. One of them is, did you see the controversy surrounding Katy Perry and American Idol this week?
I did.
You did? The kissing thing?
No.
Not what'd you see?
I saw her. She fell down dancing and mooned everybody.
Well, I'd rather do that story.
Yeah, they had the whole American Idol. Some girl was auditioning, and she's like, you come out here and do it too, Kate. And so she's like, all right. And they tried to do it, and the girl just fell. And then I guess she got really embarrassed and tried to kind of keep it going and be funny and started doing push-ups. But her
ass is hanging out.
Oh, so Katy Perry's ass wasn't hanging out.
No, it was hanging out.
Oh.
Katy Perry's.
Oh.
Absolute, like, crotch, the whole 9 yards wasn't. Lionel Richie tried to save it. He tried to get in front and be like, oh, you know what I mean? And, like, he was waving to the parade, come, because Katie's hanging out. I don't think Katie realized all that was showing. So all you see is the big American Idol, like, thing cover. It's that, I mean, I liked it.
Well, no. Well, that unwanted kiss, did you hear about this?
No.
So
I am the tiger. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
What if your first kiss? Now, granted, it would have been a different time. But what if your first kiss was Katy Perry?
It was Katy Perry. So now what? What's your next question, my friend?
Well, here's the thing. So there's a 19-year-old kid from Oklahoma. His name is Benjamin Glaze, and.
Wait, Benjamin Glaze or Blaze?
Glaze. Benjamin Glaze would be cool. They're both.
Wait, so either he's fat or he's stoner. All right, sorry, go ahead.
Benjamin Glaze. When he auditioned for American Idol, he had hoped his big moment would come as he belted out Stadium, a song he wrote himself. That or Nick Jonas's 2015 single Levels. Instead, it came when the pop star Katy Perry, a judge in the show, surprised him by kissing him smack on the lips moments before his audition. He had never been kissed before.
Whoa, that's dirty.
Instead, it came. It was a tad bit uncomfortable, he said, after the incident aired. His first kiss was a rite of passage he had been putting off with consideration. He said, I wanted to save it for my first relationship. I wanted it to be special. Well, you would think that would be special. It's not. That's a novelty. It's not truly. It's not emotional and special. Well, for him,
she did it for her, not for him.
Right. He goes, would I have done it if she said, would you kiss me? No, I would have said no.
Ooh, turn down.
It's assault. Technically. Just reaches out. You just reach out and kiss somebody who doesn't want to be kissed.
So when was it? Yeah, because if a dude does that, we getting smacked, going to jail. There's all kinds of stuff going on.
Yeah, could you imagine? There's some 19-year-old girl who's never been kissed, and a Blake Shelton goes flying out.
What?
You know,
they would be all over TMZ. Like, oh, so wait. So what are they saying now?
So here we go.
Is that Nikki? Is that Mike?
But for me, I was raised in a conservative family, and I was uncomfortable immediately. I wanted my first kiss to be special. The scene with the kiss was part of a 2-night season opener for the new American Idol, which is now airing on ABC after 15 years on Fox. Being judged by new celebrities, that's Lionel Richie, Luke Bryan, and is hosted. Oh, Ryan Seacrest is still a part of this thing too, and along with Katy Perry. So and they were in this new age of Me Too and sexual harassment and how we treat each other. It's funny because if that were me, if that were you, holy shit, my first kiss was Katy Perry. That'd be amazing.
I've been on Snapchat like, what? You want to kiss these lips, girl? You know what? I said kiss Katy. You like Katy. I like Katy. I'll be doing that all day. But this kid ruining it for everybody else, making it like,
But
I get it.
But in the end, I mean, she's not gonna. They're not. I don't see any charges are being pressed or anything like that.
I would have said no, dude.
But she assumed that this was going to be a good bit. He had never been kissed before. She kisses him right on the lips. It's going to be cute. It's fun. It's adorable. His first kiss is Katy Perry. She thinks it's going to be a crowd pleaser in her head. Yep. Probably. She's probably going, oh, this is going to be awesome. America's going to love this.
Yeah, she's feeling herself a little too much.
Yeah,
makes sense.
Now, think about it. Well, now let's flip the script. Think about how many guys, how many powerful men, good-looking men. Adam Levine, maybe.
Chris Fisher.
What?
Chris Fisher, maybe.
I'm trying to think if I just reached out and kissed somebody.
My man just froze. Like,
well, I guess I technically kissed my wife without asking.
And she got married. Hey, man.
Yeah, the first time that I kissed my wife. Now, granted, she was in my house. Well, no, that's not a good.
I was breaking up with a girl once, and she got mad at me. She said I didn't ask for permission to give her a kiss goodbye, like a peck goodbye. When you're trying to break up with someone you've been with for a minute and you're like saying goodbye, like, all right, and I get, you didn't ask, like, huh? And you wonder why we left. And is that weird to you?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that's
a little dry.
Crazy.
I agree. Yeah.
All right, and lastly, this is a cool story. I love this stuff. Unfortunately, we lost Stephen Hawking this week, but his story is an amazing story. 76 year, born in 1942, the same year as my pops. In the 60s diagnosed, and he wasn't supposed to live 2 more years. And not only did he live 2 years, but he helped shape the world that we live in today, and our understand. What's his face? Albert Einstein said, "Hey, I've done some calculations, and I think there's things I don't know. We'll just call them black holes. There's like just these black holes out in space." And people are like, "You're crazy, buddy." And matter of fact, Albert Einstein didn't even really care for that. He thought there was something wrong too at one point in his career. He didn't think, "Hey, that doesn't make any sense." But his black holes have since been proven, and Stephen Hawking, helped give us a better understanding of what these things are, and so the possibilities in the universe just seem limitless to me. But anyway, so this is a fantastic story of science. Astronaut's DNA no longer matches that of his identical twin. Spending a year in space not only changes your outlook, it transforms your genes.
That's crazy.
Preliminary results from NASA's twin study reveal that 7% of astronaut Scott Kelly's genes did not return to normal after his return to Earth. Now, I know we've talked about this before. I don't know if you've read any articles on this, that we've learned that, you think the DNA that you're born with, the coding that makes you up, doesn't change. But that is not true. It changes, like I've read, somewhere between 8 and 20% throughout your lifetime. And the way I see it, I'm like, you're evolving. We are constantly adapting. Our genes are constantly trying out different things. Now, granted, I'm no scientist. From what I understand, most of that coding that is changing is in the junk DNA category. Like we don't really know what it does. It doesn't seem to have an effect in the moment when it's doing it. But I also don't believe that shit either. Stuff's just not happening and with no results. So, I just don't think we understand it quite yet.
It's just like babies, man. They get sick, they keep getting sick, and then eventually you stop getting sick. We are evolving, and it's constantly changing, constantly. You're right. I think it's fun, man. It's cool. It's cool to see it all change.
Yeah, the study looks at what happened to Kelly before, during, and after he spent 1 year aboard the International Space Station through an extensive comparison with his identical twin, Mark, who remained on Earth. I've always meant to, if I get back to reading again, because I know there's literature out there, there's books, the study of twins, and what we've learned about ourselves by studying identical twins that have been separated, and how eerily similar they still will be later on. Like they've married the same type of person and the same kind of job, and even though they were separated at birth a long time ago.
Did you ever see the movie Twins?
Or with Arnold Schwarzenegger?
Yeah, and Danny DeVito?
Yes.
Okay, so I think that they should make a remake with Kevin Hart and The Rock. That would be freaking hilarious. Think about it.
Did you see the movie they did together, that FBI or what I don't know.
I saw Jumanji.
Were they in it?
They did the new Jumanji. They were really.
Well, how was
really
that?
Well to go. It was entertaining. Yeah,
okay,
fun. Entertaining. Fun. Listen, let them try to walk out like, man, I'm gonna think about this movie for the next couple of days. No, but it's fun.
Was Jack Black good?
They were all very good at what they did. They're all very funny. Yeah,
good.
They're really good at doing their niche. It's good.
The transformation of 7% of Scott's DNA suggests longer-term changes in genes related to at least 5 biological pathways and functions. The newest results from this unique study of Scott, now retired from NASA, were released in 2018. Investigator workshop of NASA's. I thought, because Sam was the one that drew my attention to the story, and when she brought it up, I'm like, man, it did sound familiar. So I guess we were talking about this last year. A little bit, or it was hit the headlines in some capacity. But I think it's just so cool. He's up in space for a year, comes back, and 7% of the genes don't return back to whatever they're supposed to return to, and that's insane. Because this is one of the things that we think we've learned when it comes to physics. All these quirky little things that happen in space time. Like we've always heard that adage: if there were twins, and one of them was here on Earth, and the other one was circling a black hole or approaching the speed of light, right there, close to the speed of light, and stays at the speed of light for whatever. When the guy that was traveling the speed of light or close to the speed of light returns home, he would be, let's say he did that for
younger.
Yeah, well, yeah, he'd only be, let's say he went the speed of light for 5 minutes. When he got back, he'd only be 5 minutes older, but the twin back on Earth, because the way that it warps time, would be much older.
Yeah.
You know, I don't know if it's years or weeks or how that works, but yeah. So
I think it'd be interesting to find out when they, you know, what he looks like after a year, like, you know, doing tests with the twins a year back on Earth. Since, you know, 7% was gone, I wonder what would come back, and you know what I mean. That would
well, that's what they're,
to see if they're gonna do that.
Well, yeah, that's what they were saying is that once he returned, you know,
But a year after he returned, I'm curious, like that, and like, you know, little things like that.
Yeah, they're saying it didn't return back to. Well, I don't.
Yeah, how long was he home? Because I thought it made it sound like they did their, you know.
It wasn't immediate because it said it didn't return back. So I don't know what the length of time was. Was it 6 months or a year? Or
okay, I thought it was a year. All right.
So
it's a long time in space.
Chris, you feeling a song?
I'm feeling many songs, man. Let's do it.
Happy Friday, everybody.
Happy
Hope you're doing
Friday.
well. Hope you enjoyed the show today that we recorded yesterday. To the Wake.Show, as everybody knows, show ya an intro. This is that intro. What can you do for us?
Ain't no sunshine when she gone. Only darkness every day. Ain't no sunshine when she's gone. House just ain't no home. Anytime she goes away. Wonder this time is she gone. Wonder if she's gonna stay. Ain't no sunshine when she's gone. Oh, she just ain't no home. Anytime she goes away. I know, hey, leave your things alone. Ain't no sunshine when she gone. Ain't no sunshine when she gone. Only darkness every day. Yeah. Ain't no sunshine when she's gone. It's always gone too long. Anytime she goes away. Anytime she goes away. Anytime she goes away. Anytime she goes away.
So I found this is the I found an old Chris McCarty CD from 2006.
You would show my people that too.
My Lauren told me to bring it in and have you sign it, have you autograph it. Thank you so much for being a part of the Wake.Show. Thank you for the support. Like and follow at the Wake.Show on Facebook. We also stream, we simulcast this on YouTube, Periscope, all that good stuff. I know. Anything else before we go today, Chris?
Be happy, people. Find your happiness, man. Life's too short. Oh, I'm going to Hawaii. I'm going to Hawaii next. You know, we talked about that. Closure and healing. Remember my brother passed away, Ernest Jackson.
Right.
And his anniversary, he and his wife's anniversary is March 22nd. So I'm flying out there on the 19th to be with her then, because that's going to be really, really difficult for them. And, you know, to meet my niece and meet her for the first time. Crazy circumstances, but oh no.
It's Joey trying to get back in.
Has he been outside this whole time?
I get probably.
Oh, buddy. So yeah, I think I'm mentioning it to talk about like your life and happiness and sadness, and life is difficult, and lots of curveballs are gonna come our way, but it's just imperative that you take the time that you need to heal yourself, man, because you can't keep doing the same stuff you were doing the last 8 years. You got to change it up, man. We all know it. We all need to be more. We all need more of each other, brother. So you got to be more, brother. Be more. That's the theme.
Chris McCarty, thank you so much for coming by. You can track him down on Twitter, Chris_McCarty, on Facebook, also his website, chrismccarty.com, right? Or is it Chris McCarty?
ChrisMcCarty.com.
Yeah, chrismccarty.com. Have a great weekend, and we'll Monday through Friday, 11:11 to 12:12-ish.